Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have Sally Wurr joining us here. Again, she says the best 2 days of your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. She's a best-selling author, public speaker, and so much more. She's really here to help you and coach you your way to help you with your own life and to, she has so many strategies and she's just very helpful. Let me have her introduce herself. Hello, how are you?
Hello, Jill. My name is Sally Wurr. As you said, I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a life design coach, just trying to help people through their struggles in life, right? Because every single one of us have them. But, best place to reach me, Sally Wurr at Gmail, which is SA.
Just website. Lost you. Sally, we lost you. Repeat it again.
Oh, okay. Sally Wurr. It says interesting. It says my internet is unstable. I'm not sure why. Well, we're just going to have to wing it today. SallyWurr.com is the best way, is my website. SallyWurr at gmail.com is my email address. Okay. And people that want to get a freebie from me, it's called the 5 Steps to Discovering You. You can get that at my website, SallyWurr.com/work with me. That page will also update on all the things that I have coming up when they start getting queued up in the system.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for being here. Let's talk about, your website, sallywurr.com. And for today's conversation, I know you got a great topic in store for us, and you're calling Wurr Wisdom. Resilience, right? You're talking about that. Resilience is not being immune to hardship and trauma. It's about developing the skills and resources that you need in order to cope with it. And we all suffer setbacks, you say, but it's learning from that, which is what counts. And we need to learn how to grow and thrive in the face of stress, hardship, and trauma. So welcome to your show today. Excited to talk about all of these. We'll get through all the steps with you. And again, Sally Wurr, SallyWurr.com.
Yay.
Yes.
So, I as far as, resilience, right? And I talk about resilience a lot because so many people feel like they're on this island all by themselves, right? And I like to remind people that no one's ever by themselves on an island. There's always been other people that have come before you that have struggled and walked in similar shoes. It's just really a matter of learning life strategies and making sure that you're building the resources around you to be able to learn them. And you know me, I love acronyms, right? And so my acronym really about wisdom is called SPLAT, right? Because it's that sound you make when you run up against a brick wall of life and you're just sitting there and your brain's just spinning of how do I fix this? How do I get out of this? How do I navigate these waters that you didn't think you would find yourself in?
Yeah.
And so there's 5 categories, and we're not going to go into depth with them obviously in 30 minutes, but 5 categories that I found that if you build and develop these resources, you'll have less tendency to go splat.
Yeah.
And so there's building support structures, positive outlook, loving your life, being adaptable, and my favorite word, tenacious, right? And all of those have different qualities, but truly what I have found in the decades of my life that's helped me the most is to have support structures. Those people around you in your personal life, in your personal development, in your business life, that can be there as sounding boards and mentors and guides. And I just posted on Facebook this morning, as a matter of fact. I have a neighbor who, we both are in the insurance field as well, right? That's my other hat. And periodically he'll just come and knock on my office window, which is right right behind me here,
Oh, that would
which is
be
a
so much fun if it happened live here on the show.
let's hope not. But it's lunchtime, so it could happen. But he'll just come and he'll just knock on my office window because it's on the main street level. And like yesterday, he did that, and he and I hadn't talked in quite a while. And he brought his big dog Play-Doh over, and we sat on the front deck, the front patio, and just caught up on life, right? What's going well, what isn't going well, and a struggle I was having, a struggle he was having. It's having people in our life that just are comfortable showing up, right?
Hmm.
Now, he knows if I was on a Zoom, I'd say, hey, I'll call you back. I'll come knock on your door, right? But having people in our lives that can support us. And I remember and having those dreams, right? I remember back when my father was Air Force, right? And so we talked about that last week, being a military brat. We lived in North Dakota at the time, and I got involved with tap ballet and baton twirling, right?
Hmm.
And baton twirling was just something that I absolutely loved because I'm equally balanced right hand and left hand, which you have to be a baton twirler. But my parents were my mentors, right? They spent money, time, and energy on me being able to have access to those classes at a young age.
Okay.
And my dream and my goal was always to be, in front of the band in a parade, right? I mean, that was just when you're young, you're late elementary school, middle school, those are dreams and goals because that's what we used to see on parades, right? Everybody
Hmm.
liked to see the majorettes come down in front of the band in a parade. And because my parents were willing to spend time, energy, and guidance to allow me those opportunities, by the time we transferred to California with the Air Force, uh, I was able to audition for my high school's marching band as a majorette. And so I was able to personally set a goal that I'd had since I was in sixth grade to be a majorette in my high school's marching band. And so, first year I was in the majorette squad with three other ladies. And then the second year I was squad captain as well as solo feature twirler. And I say that not to brag, but it's
No,
even our
no.
young age goals, right?
Hmm.
That teach us lessons
Hmm.
about who we have supporting us in our life from a very young age. And so I guess I think about you with young children, you know, I know you're supporting them and engaging them in conversations and opportunities. That's where it begins. It begins with us as parents or aunts or uncles or wherever you fall in that category to help develop these goals and these strategies for our children. So by the time they get into high school,
Hmm.
all these support structures have already been planted. It's been planted in their minds, it's been planted in their heart and their soul. Um, the second thing was just to be positive, right? The P in SPLAT is to be positive, and just keeping that mindset that anything that you want to do and have the ability to do, you can do. Uh, we live in the United States of America, and anything is possible. You talk to anybody, and I do. I have a lot of friends that have come from other countries, and I love hearing their stories because they always start with the same thing. My parents or I wanted the ability to live in a country where we could become anything that we wanted to become.
Hmm.
And I think that when we look at, that positive outlook here in our country, I don't know about you, Jill, but I, nothing's really stopped me from doing anything that I wanted to do, except for having the ability to do it, right?
Hmm.
Um, I, I've, I just, my bucket list since I was 18 years old was to be an international speaker. And here I
Wow.
am, took me a few decades to get here at the level that I wanted to get here, but it's because of where my focus and my support and my positive outlook came from. And then, obviously we have, comes down to who we are, right?
Hmm.
Do you love the life that you are living? And I always like to say, are you in the driver's seat of your own life,
Your own
or are you
destiny,
in the
or you. Hmm.
Or are you in the driver's seat of somebody else telling you what you should be doing?
Yeah.
Right. And there's a huge difference. And a lot of people, sometimes we do allow other people to drive us, right? Our
Yeah.
mentors sometimes are looking at our life from the outside when we're kind of deep in the weeds. And so it's nice to be able to have them as our guidance. But sometimes they don't really know what's in our personal heart and our
Mm-hmm.
soul. They have everybody has an agenda.
Yeah.
Everybody has an agenda. And so when you're loving the life that you put yourself in, be very careful when someone's trying to derail you.
Yeah.
And it happens, I mean, it happens to me all the time, right? People say, well, did you think about this, or did you try this? Or I love my life, but part of loving my life is being focused.
Yeah.
And sometimes we all are allowed those wild hairs, right?
Yeah.
So we can kind of go off on our own tangent, but truly loving the life that you are living is what brings the most joy. And I would say you're probably going to get into less trouble if you are doing the things that you're meant for, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what you're meant for, Jill, right? I
Yes.
mean, you know what you're meant for. And does that mean that we always get it? No, we don't
No. No.
always get what we want. And and sometimes there are people that control where we want to go, and they put roadblocks in our way.
Mm-hmm.
And in my case, it could be just because they don't like my dark brown hair, right? I mean, we don't know why people don't like us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All we can do is put our best foot forward, love who we are, keep a good positive outlook, um, and understanding that loving your life and having a positive outlook doesn't mean perfection,
Mm-hmm.
because all of us are flawed.
Yeah.
Much as we'd like to think that we aren't, we are flawed human beings. But in order to love your life, you need to ask yourself a few questions. So I'd like to have our audience think about these three things about their life. And the first one is, what do you want?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think there's a song, "What do you want from me?" Right?
Yeah.
What do you want for your life? If you could have anything in the world, what is that one thing? What's your one thing, Jill?
Calm,
Sorry, put you on the.
peace. No, you want me to think about a whole bunch of things because I mean, what do I want? I want my mortgage paid off. I want my financial stress gone. I want my children happy. I want to travel the world. There's just so much to that question. I could think of a million things I want. I can't just pick one. Overall is happiness. I mean, it comes down to happiness. Less stress of not having a mortgage, less stress of having my kids taken care of. Their well-being, the happiness of us traveling and living life. Yeah, so there's a lot. I'm sorry. I don't know if I answered that correctly, if there's supposed to be one
You
answer.
did, but look at the joy that one question evokes, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I mean, and some of that, I think everybody wants their mortgage paid off. I don't. That's never, thankfully, has never been a stressor for me, but I know that it is for a lot of people. Just being able to pay your bills every month.
Yeah.
Especially with them going up. I mean, I read a
Yeah.
rumor the other day our property tax was going up 40 to 50%, and I'm going, well, why? you
Yeah.
know, why? And question number two: where do you see yourself in the next few years, Jill?
Well, I would like to say married, still not married, maybe. I would like to say successfully still having a career in radio, doing what I'm doing here in television is amazing. In a few years, I see myself traveling more. I want to travel more. So that means I got to work hard to pay off the mortgage and all the stress of the bills. Yeah, I see myself still doing the same thing in a few years, but I think it's just getting close to that finish line.
What does the finish line look like, though?
It looks like a calm, serenity, peaceful, like my house organized. More time for me. I might need more time.
And I only had one child, but that me time came after she was
What age?
totally off my payroll, right? Out of college, had a job that she could pay her own bills, and then I got the pay raise.
Yeah.
Now I'm happy to say I've been on that side for a while now, and it is truly a goal worth heading for because it's I don't know, Jill. I don't know that I would do a whole lot different than what I do on a daily basis. I am where you're heading for, and I can tell you
Oh,
it's pretty darn awesome.
awesome.
Pretty
Thank
darn
you.
awesome. So
Uh-huh.
so keep that in your headlights because it's goals that we're working towards, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, your day will come, and it probably will come sooner than you think because I have to tell you, every day, every year I get a year older, it seems like time speeds up that much quicker.
Really? Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're looking at yourself and I'm going, okay, what year did my daughter graduate? Really? Wasn't that
What?
just
How did that?
yesterday?
Uh-huh.
And it was, let's say 20 years ago. She
Wow.
graduated high school. I mean, it's like, holy moly.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes fast. And then third question, what makes you proud of you?
Oh, I don't know if I've ever, I don't even know how to answer. What makes me proud? Well, what makes me proud of me
Yes,
is the fact that I'm taking care of my two kids by myself. That makes me proud more than anything. Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go.
I'm gonna
And
get teary-eyed because it's not an easy thing, and a lot of people do it. They do it with less, but it's yeah, yeah, proud.
and you should be proud of yourself because
Mhm.
that,
It's
you know, I'm sorry, I
it's
didn't mean,
okay. No,
you know,
it's true.
it,
Yeah.
but this is why I like to have these conversations with people because it is emotional, right? I mean, it
Mhm.
is emotional. I mean, I think back, and I've shared with you and your audience about, my husband getting sick and dying in 2020, and it's like, wait a second, I was married 45 years. Who the heck am I? And
Yeah.
where do I go from here, right? I'm thankful that I'm not like a very good friend of mine who's got a son in college and an eighth grade daughter, and her husband passed away last year. I mean, thank goodness my daughter wasn't young, but life is hard.
Yeah.
Life is hard, and I think that when we start digging deeper into our whys, it it's enlightening to say the least, but it's also necessary for us to know where we're coming from.
Mhm.
So for you, you should be proud of yourself. I mean, look what you've done in your short life, right? I mean,
Mhm.
really and truly, you it's that striving every single day to bring the best that you can bring to the table,
Yeah.
and and being there for your kids because they need you, and finding a life partner that someone asked me that the other day. They said, because my husband will be gone 3 years in July, and they said, well, so are you dating yet? And I'm going, no, and I think for me, I'm still discovering me,
Yeah.
and I'm now because I've obviously got a lot more time being married for 45 years, but um, it's all about what my needs are, and my bank account's all about me, and that mortgage payment's all about me, and getting closer to those things that bring me to tears. I
Mhm.
just I have discovered through writing Power of Awakening
Mhm.
that I had to spend a lot of time in those areas. And it's the only way that I'm on this side being able to smile and share my stories about what it was like in 2020 dealing with somebody that had aggressive cancer in a world with no pathways, right? Um,
Yeah.
but but also being a parent, an
Mhm.
only parent to your children, that's a new path for you. That's not one you chose,
Mm-hmm.
but you're doing everything that you can to be
Correct.
there and take care of it and still be able to have Jill time, because it's
Mm-hmm.
important that you have your time. You, yes, you want to be the guide for your children and your friends and your family and your coworkers and everybody in your world, but there again, you have to love your life.
Yeah.
You have to love your life, and I hope, and maybe I'll just ask this: who do you have around you? Who's your number one mentor to give you that support when you need it?
I don't have anyone. People always say that. Where's your support system? Where's your, I have a sister. She takes care of my father now that my mom's passed. She lives 5 minutes away. Her kids are close with my kids. We see each other, but she does not help me at all. She's busy with her own life and she feels very animally about, I should be able to do everything myself. I don't have it. After I lost my mom, I don't have anyone. So I don't have a mentor. I feel like I am my own mentor. And maybe that's not normal or not supposed to be, but I don't have anyone to look up to. I don't have anyone that's helping me, guiding me. I'm on the path, and I hate to say alone, but kind of like, yeah. Um,
Okay, so we need to get in touch off air, um,
yes. Thank you. Yeah.
because and I tell people this because whenever I have much the same path. If it weren't for my daughter, I'm myself, right? I mean,
Yeah.
do I have a lot of supporters around me and people that I can go to for questions and that? When my husband passed away, when he was sick and then he passed away, I learned that the closest hand for help is attached to my own arm. And I'm not gonna go into details, but let's
Yeah.
just say I found this out the hard way and it was a surprise to me that when I asked for help, which you're probably like me, I never really asked for specific help. I
Yeah.
asked for outlying help. I never specifically call somebody up and say, "Can you do this for me now?"
Yep.
And I did it twice and was turned down both times.
Ah,
Now, these people in my life had a
yeah.
reason, their own personal reasons why I was turned down.
Yeah.
But for me, not being one that asks for help, and then when you do, they
And then
say,
you
"I'm
get,
sorry, I can't help you." And all those foul words come to mind, right? I
yeah.
mean,
But then you said, this is why I'm doing everything myself and alone because I could do it best. Yes.
yeah. So I'm very
I,
familiar with
I
where
per
you're sitting.
perfect example. I here I go. I broke it was February 2nd, day before my son's birthday this year. I come down the steps after work and I literally broke my foot. I just walked down the steps and I heard crack and the right side of my foot just broke. So then I find out I have weak bones and all that after. But so now what do? I got the two kids getting off the bus. I call the neighbor's kids. They got my kids off the bus. I brought them home and I'm sitting on the floor. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm like, I don't know. Is it a sprain? And I heard a crack. I'm like, I got to, and it's my right foot. So I'm like, all right, can you guys watch the kids? They watch the kids. I drove myself to the doctor, got the x-ray. Oh, you have a broken foot. You can't be driving. And I'm like, oh, yes, I can. I have no choice. I'll be driving. We got to go to the orthopedic tomorrow. You have to find someone. I said, I'm alone. I said, I drive myself. I said, I'll figure out how to drive with a broken right foot and I'll use the part of my bone that's not broken. I'll go to the left, the back, the heel. Drove to orthopedic, same thing. Oh, you're leaving yourself? You can't. I'm like, I have no choice. I'm like, then I have kids and yeah, then we have sports every night. I said, for the next 2 months, I said, I have to drive. There is no. And people were like, oh, you can't. I'm like, and then ironically, my boyfriend and I weren't even talking at that point. And he called me 2 days later. He's like, I saw on Facebook you broke your foot. What is that? I'm like, see, you should have called me. I'm like, we're not speaking. I'm not asking for help. I don't ask for help. I said, and it's like, can't depend, rely on anyone. Why wouldn't you call me? Because you didn't want to speak to me a few days before that. Why am I going to call you out of all people? Like, so I'm very on this alone mission, which I don't like, but it's also hard for me to trust because of family history with my parents, so growing up. So I'm very guarded, but perfect example about there you are alone. And it's like, you gotta just do it. Right. Yeah. Sorry, it just evoked me to
Absolutely.
tell you that story. Oh, and then the next day on top of it, I have the orthopedic. It's my son's birthday. He's turning 6. Now he's sick at school. I have the orthopedic. I got to go pick him up from school with a sickness. Now take him to the doctor with me. And he was sick as a dog. And I have to be at my house for his birthday. And I'm like, yeah, we get through. We get through. We're more resilient than we think, right?
We are, because you hit that splat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there again, that's the A in splat, is being adaptable.
Yeah.
You just tell them, hey, you know what? That might be great. And in your world, maybe you can find a driver. But in the meantime, I'm going to be driving with a broken foot because that's my choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Actually, it isn't a choice. That's what life is demanding. And that's where you have to go with it, And so, and you also hit my favorite word, which is tenacious.
Mm-hmm.
I love that word. I just kind of get filled with power whenever I say tenacious,
Mm-hmm.
but it is that being persistent and the definition is being persistent in seeking something that you value or desire, or in this case, have to do. You have to be tenacious.
Yeah.
You're a single mom and things happen and you go splat, but the splat in that wall doesn't mean you stop going forward. You have no choice. You have to do that. And so my 3 words last year and this year are to be brave, be strategic, and be involved.
Oh.
And I think you fit that, right? I think this show was meant for you. Be brave. You're brave, right? You're doing all these things, trying to keep the balls up in the
You
air.
too. Stop. But thank you. Just felt like
but you're
sharing.
strategic. You're strategic about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You have the things that you have to get done.
Yeah.
And those things that are on the dreams and wish list that at some point it's going to happen. And you're involved. You're involved in your life. You're involved in your children's life. And maybe somebody will come along that can help fill that spouse role. But in the meantime, you got this.
Yes.
And that's all we can expect from ourselves, is that wherever we're at, whatever we're doing, that we got it.
Mm-hmm.
To the best of our ability, we've got it. But you're not by yourself, right?
Yeah.
You're not by yourself.
We
feel
kids.
like we are.
I got my boys. I got them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And with a broken foot on a birthday party and a sick child, with all of that going on in that one day.
Yeah. It's like, wow. I always believe, and my mom always said, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. Like, God knows I could just take a lot. So I'm like, okay, I got it. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I didn't. We're out of time, Sally. My goodness,
I know
I'm so
we
sorry.
are.
I didn't even realize it. Sally, thank you so much for today. I'm sorry we didn't get through everything.
We did. It was
Tell
good.
us how we can reach you and pick up your book.
Sally Wurr at Gmail or sallywurr.com. Go get my freebie, 5 Steps to Discovering You. sallywurr.com/work with me, and have a fabulous Friday.
Thank you so much. You too.
And please reach out to me. We need to talk.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Really. You're awesome. Thank you, Sally.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes. and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.